Mashed potatoes are tasty when they're super mashed, but unfortunately not everything is. Super mash sounds amazing on paper, but it's not as amazing as mashed potatoes. Unfortunately, if you like potatoes as much as I do, this statement will make you sad. So it pretty much, do you remember your favorite RPGs, racing games, or platforms? Well, what if you could make a new game by just mashing them all together? Mash, 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 mash. And the game mechanics of the two very different genres together, what would you get? And this game sort of answers a bit of that superficially. So you can mix and match from 6 different genres, including platformer, action adventure, shoot 'em up, stealth, and Japanese RPG. I kind of find it funny they say Japanese RPG rather than just, RPGs. But anyways, so that sounds exciting, right? Well, the concept is far, far more exciting than this game's execution, unfortunately. So the game's story of mashing these games together inside the store will save the store from closing. It's kind of forgettable, so you can kind of skip the story mode and just go straight into mashing different game genres together, because this video game console that mashes the games, you don't really need the story aspect. You can just go straight into mash games, and it really doesn't have an ending apparently, so it doesn't matter if you do play story mode. They don't finish it for some reason. So yeah, you can avoid the story, just enjoy mashing the games up. So I played like the stealthy Kirby meets Metal Gear mashup, which is okay, but had none of the excitement of Metal Gear, none of the excitement of Kirby, and the game was just, that it was based off of. So I then played like a Final Fantasy Legend Game Boy mashup with like Final Fantasy Remaster graphics, where you explore a weapon for dungeons, you explore a dungeon for weapons, and experience points, and there's some sort of thing resembling a backstory, where these characters have no emotional weight, unfortunately, which is important in an RPG. So I killed a few enemies and the round ended the dungeon. So the graphics look decent, some are nicely detailed. It sort of feels like the Final Fantasy remakes look good. Otherwise it looks like TurboGrafx, low-end TurboGrafx meets maybe low-end early Super Nintendo graphics. So Supermash is a mixed bag, unfortunately, is what I'm getting at. Some mashups are very fun, others are incredibly boring, unfortunately. So it will give you a new experience every time you play, which is like the biggest highlight of this mashup thing, this experience. So like when I mixed shoot 'em ups with the Zelda dungeon environment, it looks weird and it's interesting, but like it doesn't play super, it's not exciting, let's say. So ultimately it's clear that these limitless possibilities of mashups are kind of shallow. That's the cons, unfortunately. Repetitive and give you uninteresting gameplay. Yes, you can add dev cards, glitches. I had a glitch where I just hit an enemy in the RPG for almost 10,000 points and instantly killed them. Cool, but like it didn't really change the actual gameplay beyond like a superficial way. So, but the experience remains lesser than the mix of the different parts that are combined together. So the base game goes for $21.99. So it really feels like a $5 experiment that's fun for like a few minutes, a few rounds, until you realize how hollow a game's experience is without purpose or fun game mechanics. And like this game has gameplay mechanics and borrows a lot, but it doesn't have any significance. It doesn't have any meat on the bone. So it's like you're given a bone, it's like, here, play with the bone, which works for dogs, but not so much for us. So the game is sadly a chore to play, and mixing the different genres shows how important like solid game design and how a story prevails over, tedious mini games that are lacking in depth beyond their 5 to 10 minute experience. Now, I realized when I wrote this, the games are fun because they're so quick and you just have to learn how to play. And these games aren't like that. They're 5 minutes and they're not like silly mini games. They're just sort of parodies or aping games that are better games, let's say. So video games are so much more than collecting X coins as this game does. Fetch quests, find the exit or kill X enemies, targets, and Supermash manages to prove that mashing genres together without an underlying meaning behind them makes the gaming experience pleasant but ultimately hollow. so it's a lesson. Sadly, I have to give the game 4 out of 10. It just sounds like such an amazing game on the surface. The concept sounds great, but it's a great idea that just doesn't play well. At times it looks generic and bland with just unenjoyable stories, because there's a little bit of blurb story build up to each level that you can skip. So, and just there's small aimless dungeons with like Final Fantasy II original graphics quality or less. So ultimately it makes me reminisce about the games that this game, mashup game, is trying to bring back with your memories of better games. So it's throwing back to these games, and it makes me want to play these games instead of like the mashed up versions, because they were just a solid game experience, good graphics, sound, you know, just personality. And I feel like this game, the mashup games, lack personality, and that's the biggest, you know, the problem with it. It's aping games that did things better, and yeah. So keep on mashing games together. This is a 4 out of 10 from me. Until there's something new, hopefully you'll get something cool, but so far, most of the time, these mashups in this game are pretty bland and meh. So keep on maying and keep on gaming.